The following is a live presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. And we got ourselves a day for you today on this Friday, the 18th of February, 2022. My name is Ron Juckett. Welcome to the program. For the last game of this week, the 25th of May, 1985, and we promised you a Vin and Joe special, and oh my goodness, are we ever going to deliver? It is the Dodgers and the Mets from Shea Stadium, a beautiful day. In New York, 72 degrees, winds at 9 from right to left, and the pitching matchup is to die for. It is Fernando Valenzuela for the Dodgers and Dwight Gooden for the Mets. It is mid-80s, just ultimate baseball Fantasia explosion. So fire up your Duran Duran Culture Club or Def Leppard records. It's time. We should be blessed with hopefully a good game. So again, it's Dwight Gooden for the Mets, Fernando Valenzuela for the Dodgers. The Dodgers in first place at 25-16. The Mets trying to get to 500. We'll see what happens next. Right now, as Retro Sports Network presents Major League Replay 85 today from Shea Stadium in Queens. It'll be the New York Mets versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. And today's game is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. How you doing, John? And it is Dwight Gooden on the mound. He is 5-2 with a 1.79 ERA. He is making his 10th start of the year. He's 21 years old. A fastball pitcher at 84 and a ground ball plus pitcher. He has not faced the Dodgers. He lost his last start to the San Diego Padres 5 days ago. A 2-0 whitewash. He went 8 innings through a season high 135 pitches, allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned, a homer. He walked 5 and struck out 5. His season high for K's is 12 against the Phillies on May 10th. So, happy Friday to you. Overall, 70 in the third innings for Doc. 50 hits, 16 runs, 14 earned, 4 homers. He has walked 20 and struck out 61. And so his ERA sits at 1.79 with a 5-2 record. And this will be the lineup he'll face. Steve Sachs leads off for the Dodgers at second base. R.J. Reynolds in right will bat second. Kenny Landreau in center will go third. Pedro Guerrero cleans up at third base. Greg Brock at first will bat fifth. Mike Scioscia behind the plate. Terry Whitfield will bat seventh and left. Mariano Duncan at short goes eighth. And Fernando Valenzuela on the mound for the Dodgers will bat ninth. And both pitchers should go around 140 pitches. Defensively for the Mets, George Foster a 3 and a 4 in left. Mookie Wilson a 7 and a 1 in center. Mookie has that ramen noodle arm. Christensen is a 2 and a 5 in right. No Strawberry against the lefty Valenzuela. Howard Johnson is a 3 at third. Rafael Santana a 5 at short. Kelvin Chapman is a 3 at second. No Wally Backman against the lefty. Keith Hernandez, the only lefty in the lineup for the Mets, is an 8 at first. Gary Carter a 9 and a 6 behind the plate. And Gooden is a 7 on the mound with a .969 fielding percentage. So it'll be Sachs leading off at 247, a homer, and 4 RBI. A packed house at Shea. Settle in. The Dodgers and the Mets. And this one starts with a chopper over the mound. Santana on the grass. Over to first, 1 out. 1 pitch, 1 out. That brings up R.J. Reynolds at 272. 2 triples, and 7 RBI. Just in time for Dodger baseball. If I had a mission statement, for lack of a better term, for my Facebook group. Okay. Pitch to Reynolds. There's a fly ball to right. Christensen, who's not very good, reaches in and makes the catch. So 2 out for Landro. Kenny at 271, 5 homers and 19 RBI. I'm not very good at self-promotion. I don't even tell you to like and subscribe my videos. And so I need to do that, and I was hoping to branch out to show some stuff or do some stuff that isn't very good for streaming. So that's pretty much what that is for. Plus, so you guys know what's coming up. Although I did botch my schedule. How about that? Zalapsky Smurf, how are you, Mark? 2 out for Landro. Kenny dribbles one down to first. Hernandez to the bag, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the first. No score. And here is Fernando Valenzuela. Fernando, just 25 himself, making his 10th start of the year. He throws the screwball 90 miles an hour on the fastball and a ground ball. He beat the Phillies his last time out on the 19th. 7 innings, 159 pitches. Imagine that. 8 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. He gave up a homer, walked 6, and struck out 5. Against the Cubs on the 14th, he fanned 15 in picking up his 3rd win of the year. So overall, 67 1/3 innings, 53 hits, 29 runs, 22 earned, 3 homers allowed. He's walked 31 and struck out 61. This will be the lineup he'll face. Mookie Wilson leads off in center field. Mr. Chapman will bat second and bat second. Keith Hernandez at first will go third. Gary Carter will clean up behind the plate. George Foster in left will bat fifth. Christensen in right will go sixth. Howard Johnson at third will bat seventh. Rafael Santana at short bats eighth. And Gooden, who threw 9 pitches in his half of the first, will bat ninth. Fernando is 4-5 on the year with a 2.94 ERA. And as Jamie says, it's kind of a hard luck. Although the Dodgers are cruising right along at 25-16. So for the Dodgers, they have crossed the quarter pole. This is game 42. The Mets, this is game 38. Terry Whitfield a 2-2 and left for the Dodgers. Landro a 4-2. Reynolds a 4-3. For Lasorda, that's not great defense out there. Guerrero a 4 at third. Duncan a 5 at short. Sachs a 5 at second. Brock, the best of the bunch, he's a 6 at first. Sosha a 7 and a 6 behind the plate. Fernando a 7 on the mound with a 1,000 fielding percentage. Mookie Wilson steps in at 262, 4 triples, and 11 RBI. As far as that, I mean, I don't want to overlap what we're doing at Digital Dice when projects get posted. It's pretty much I designed it so I could tell you what I was doing. Al's posting some stuff, you know, whatever you want to share. There's obviously some people who watch my stuff that don't necessarily know about the podcast. So within reason, you know, maybe topics you'd like to see, you know, videos you'd like to see me do, or topics for the show, or anything along that line, or whatever you'd like to share is fine. And if it gets too out of hand, I know what to do. Pitch to Mookie is a ground ball to Sachs. Over to first, 1 out. Kelvin Chapman at 227 with 5 RBI. And this would be the era that Tommy would just grind Fernando and his screwball right in the ground. Pitch. There's a ground ball to Sachs, this time behind the bag. Second verse, same as the first, 2 out. And that'll bring up Keith Hernandez. Hernandez at 325, 4 homers and 21 RBI. 17, by the way. When we do get baseball for real, we'll go up on the wall at Citi Field. And believe it or not, Hernandez has better splits against lefties than righties. He hit lefties at a 315 clip. To first, Brock, and that will retire the side. So 3 up, 3 down. We go to the second. I do not expect this to be a 10-8 affair. No score. So Gooden to face Guerrero, Brock, and Socha here in the second. Pete at 336, 7 homers, and 21 RBI. Gooden starts the second with his first strikeout of the ball game. A good hard curve that caught the outside corner on a 1-2 pitch. So that's 1 for Dr. K. Here's Brock. Greg at 181. 3 homers and 12 RBI. Jamie asks, is RSN the deuce coming? Reference that Fortnite players might be needed. The Ocho. No, at some point there'll be a WordPress site. There's some projects I'd like to do that games that don't necessarily stream well or people aren't really going to want to watch. To get my writing skills back up to shape. I've written so little the last few years, you do get rusty. Pitch to Brock. Struck him out. We got a good afternoon, a good morning, and a good afternoon. A 1-2 breaking ball right on the black on the outside corner. 2 out. RS in the magazine. I promise, no body issue. Unless it's the cat. Here's Socha. 281, no homers, and 13 RBI. And if you're wondering if we're going to get a good night here, Socha, in 429 at-bats, only struck out 21 times. Gooden winds and deals. Popped up in the center. Wilson's there. Mookie makes the catch, and the Dodgers go down in order again. We go to the bottom of the second, no score. So Carter, Foster, and Christensen to face Fernando here in the second. Gary at 290, 7 homers and 22 RBI. Looks like, from looking at the outcome boxes, that we are going to get the pitcher's duel. Pitch to Gary. There's a line drive to second. Sachs is there, 1 out. Brings up George Foster, 306, 6 homers and 19 RBI. I mean, they play a variety of different things outside of what you see here. And I'll tell you what, if I posted tennis matches, people aren't going to watch them. I've tried that a couple times and people get upset. Not you guys, but Hernandez, according to Midlife Crisis, wasn't afraid to hit that outside fastball from lefties the other way. Unlike today where everyone's trying to crush it, lefties have trouble against lefties. That's true. Pitch to Foster. There's a fly ball to left. Whitfield will make the catch, 2 out. Brings up John Christensen, not even a household name in his own house. 233, a triple, and 3 RBI. Today's baseball seems to be, let me wear you down as much as possible, take as many pitches as I can. We'll get to the tomato can eventually. I enjoy doing the tennis and golf. The numbers indicate otherwise. Pitch to Christensen. There's a line drive to Sachs. And he leaps and makes a good catch. And that will retire the side. 12 up, 12 down. No base runners. We go to the third, no score. At some point, it's all cyclical with baseball. Someone will figure out how to take advantage of shifts, trying to work singles. I thought Trey Turner was going to be that batter because he has such good speed. And maybe now that he's with the Dodgers, he can do that. For a few years, we had a pretty good balance of pitching and hitting, and now it's all out of whack again. Here's Whitfield tearing at 265, a homer, and 7 RBI. Gooden starts the third with a line drive to center. Mookie ranges over, 1 out. And that'll bring up Mariano Duncan, who's sitting on an 8-game hitting streak and hitting 229 with a homer and 13 RBI. We will be showing off the new Stratomatic baseball tonight. 80s do have tremendous balance. And, of course, you add in what the Royals and the Cardinals did. And there was, you could beat people with 3-run homers or you could beat people with speed. And good pitching, and that's the last of the fireman era. Pitch to Duncan. Struck him out. That's 3. He blew the 95-mile-an-hour fastball right by him. He swung and missed, and those in left field felt the breeze on this beautiful 73-degree day. Here's Fernando, 280, 7 for 25, 2 doubles, and an RBI. Winds and deals. Struck him out. That's 4. So the fastball swung on and missed, and it's 9 up, 9 down. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the third. It's Bagel City here in Queens. So here's Howard Johnson, 307, 4 homers, and 14 RBI. Pitch from Fernando, right to Duncan on a line drive. So here's Rafael Santana. Somehow he's hitting 336 with a homer and 20 RBI. Well, we'll have 5 games for you next week. Memorial Day doubleheader and the regular Wednesday, Friday, Saturday games. And so we'll start with those on Tuesday. So 11:30 Tuesday morning for our holiday doubleheader. He only did it a couple times last year, but Bryce Harper punched easy ground ball to third for a double. Yeah, that's what someone's got to do. And one time he dragged behind to third, no fielder, and got criticized by the play-by-play. There were 2 outs. He stole second and scored on a base hit. Harper has good baseball intelligence. I'm just not sure that he's a great teammate. But no, your job is to get on base. And Harper is very good at that. Pitch to Rafael. There's a line drive foul third base side, and somebody from Staten Island made that catch. So it's 0-2 the count. Fernando winds and deals. Little number down to Brock. Greg will take it to the bag himself. 2 out. And that'll bring up Dwight Gooden. Somehow, Dwight, you think Santana's hitting. Gooden's at 381 with a homer and 2 RBI. Goodness gracious, St. Marie. He's loved in Philly. I think the expectations were different in Philly than they were in Washington. And now, because they won the World Series after he left, is there a Ewing theory involved with that? You guys know what the Ewing theory is, right? Pitch to Doctor. Struck him out. The first for Fernando. Gooden looked at a Scroogey right at the knees for strike 3. And again, no runs, no hits, no errors. If you were more perfect, you'd be Sergeant Pepper. We go to the 4th, no score. So Gooden threw his opening 9, 31 pitches, 3 innings, and 4 strikeouts. Sacks, as is everyone in the ballgame so far. is 0 for 1. Gooden starts the fourth with a ground ball to Howard Johnson. And Sachs is going to beat this out for an infield single. Hojo got a late jump, and that's what you get when you order the liver and onions. He figured it out. No, that's true. That's even if he's struggling and he hustles, the fans will love him. I don't know what the Phillies' tax situation is going into this year. Sachs has good speed, by the way. And he is back. So Carter says, I want to pitch out. Gooden says, be my guest. Gary throws down to second. Santana got the tag on him. So there you go. Carter threw him out. 2-6. And so 1 out and a 1-ball count to Reynolds. And again, everybody except now for Sachs is 0 for 1. Pitch to RJ. A ground ball to Chapman. He'll go to Hernandez. Has to hurry, and Reynolds is out on a bang-banger. So a high chopper off that grass. And Chapman had to play it really between hops. So 2 out for Landro, who is 0 for 1. There's a line drive to left. That's a legitimate hit. Kenny's going to have extra bases. Hojo again with a bad play. Foster throws it in the infield. And Landro has his 6th double of the year. So here's Guerrero, who has a strikeout. One of the 4 that Gooden has recorded so far. Pitch to Pedro. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. So it got past Chapman. Landro rounds third and scores. And the Dodgers get the first run of the ball game. It's 1-0. So here's Greg Brocky struck out. So the 2 poor defensive plays by Howard Johnson has put the Dodgers on the board. Gooden from the stretch. There's a base hit into right. Christensen will pick it up. Guerrero will hold at second. So 4 hits all coming in this inning. Brings up Scioscia, who's 0 for 1. Dodgers trying to get Valenzuela some help. The Mets would like to only give up the 1 run. Here's the pitch. Into right center. Mookie will make the catch, and that will retire the side. So 1 run on 4 hits and no errors. We go to the bottom of the 4th. It's time to show you the standings. It's 1-0 Dodgers. And so this is pretty much where we were when we left you last night, because the rest of the games of the day have not been played. The Dodgers come in on a 2-game winning streak and a 2.5-game lead over the Astros. The Mets have lost 7-10 and are 9 games behind St. Louis. You'd think that they should be able to get past Montreal and Pittsburgh and Chicago. But it's Memorial Day weekend. You now look at these standings seriously. That's a lot to make up. And the Mets, on top of that, are 9-12 at Shea. And 1-11 in 1-run games. American League West, stir up the yogurt. The Royals have won 9 of 10. They lead Seattle by 2.5. Even the White Sox at 16-21 are only 6 back. In the East, Toronto has a 4-game bulge over the Tigers and Red Sox. The Yankees come into life, but they're still at 500. We're not even there yet. And again, I asked this before and I couldn't look it up. Is Milwaukee really that bad? They have the worst record in baseball at 13-24. And are 7-13 in the land of euchre. So Fernando is opening 9 on 34 pitches and has struck out a batter. Over 3 innings. Mookie's 0 for 1. There's a chopper to Sack. Steve picks it up, throws to first, 1 out. Thanks to all you guys for the kind words on the Digital Dice Facebook group about what playoffs. Dave and I are taping that today. Kelvin Chapman is 0 for 1. And there's a fly ball, left center field. Landro rides the Schwinn, 2 out. And that'll bring up Keith Hernandez. Keith is 0 for 1. Brewers were 71 and 90 in 85, so not good. But I can't imagine that was the worst record in baseball. Hernandez draws the walk. So Keith with a good eye and the 4-count walk. Scioscia said something on the pit on the curve, but so that's the first base runner for the Mets. Here's Carter. He's 0 for 1. Into right. Crowd likes it. They shouldn't. Reynolds is there. Wraps it up. So again, no runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the 5th. It's 1-0 Dodgers. So Gooden and Johnson had a few words in the dugout in the bottom of the 4th inning. Here's Whitfield. Terry's 0 for 1. And the Pirates lost 104 and the Indians 102. Gooden starts the 5th with a strikeout. He got him to swing and miss on a hard fastball. On a 1-2 count, that's 5 and 66 on the year. Here's Duncan again. If there was a Dodger you would not think that would have a long hitting streak, well, it's Mariano Duncan, who struck out his first time up. Gooden rocks and deals. Ground ball to Santana. Makes a diving stop in the hole over to Hernandez, 2 out. So that brings up Valenzuela. Fernando struck out his first time up. And Gooden looking to have a much easier 5th. Fernando punches this one into center field for a single. So that's the 5th hit. Yeah, Duncan had a history of hitting lefties well. Then they might have faced a bunch of them. Here's Sack. Steve is 1 for 2. Got the first hit of the ball game. Gooden threw 18 batters, 61 pitches, 4 2/3, 5 hits. The 1 run is earned, and he has struck out 5. Fernando not a threat to steal, and Sachs draws the walk. The 3-1 was just a bit outside on the curve. 2 out for Reynolds, who's 0 for 2. On paper, the Brewers' stats aren't that bad, but usually a good hitting team was a bit off. And a rookie, Teddy Higuera. And of course, remember by 87, they started off, 15-0 or something like that? Higuera had the no-hitter. You still got Yount. You still got Molitor. I think people forget in the mid-'80s just how good that American League East was. The Red Sox were now in contention. The Blue Jays, we talked about this before, they'd have a decade when they didn't finish any worse than 3rd. The Yankees were always the bridesmaids, but they weren't terrible by any stretch. Carter and Gooden go out to have a conversation. 2 outs. To second. Chapman will go to first, and that will retire the side. Halfway home on a Friday afternoon, Dodgers, no runs, a hit, no errors. They lead the Mets 1-0. We'll be back right after this. Well, if you joined us late, the recap's rather short. Pedro Guerrero, an RBI single in the fourth. Gooden retired his first 9 in order. Fernando has just walked a batter. That's it. 5 innings for Gooden, 5 hits the run. He has walked 1 and struck out 5. Fernando has walked a batter and struck out a batter and is throwing bagels. So Foster, Christensen, and Johnson here in the 5th. George is 0 for 1. Here's a line drive to third. Guerrero is there, 1 out. Brings up John Christensen. Can't imagine Strawberry was that terrible against lefties. There's a base hit, so there goes a no-hitter. Christensen's going to be in the second with his 4th double of the year. So Howard Johnson, who is 0 for 1, needs to make up for his bad defense in the 4th inning to tie the game here with a single. Fernando deals. There's a slow ground ball. Duncan has it. He throws to Brock, and Johnson's retired. Christensen moves to third as Duncan had to come way in. So 2 out for Santana, and Rafael is 0 for 1. So Fernando took a no-hitter into the 5th. Pitch to Santana, and there's a fly ball to left. Whitfield will come in, and that will retire the side. No runs, the Mets get a hit, no errors. They've left 2 on through 5, 1-0 Dodgers. So Landro, Guerrero, and Brock to face Gooden, who has struck out 5 through 5. Pitch to Landro. There's a little liner in the left center field. Foster will pick it up. And again, Howard Johnson not covering himself in clover at third. Here comes Guerrero. Petey has struck out, singled, and driven in the lone run of the game. That came in the 4th. And this stream has lasted longer, twice as long already, as the last meeting between the MLB owners and the players. Pitch to Guerrero. He walked him. And so it's first and second, nobody out for Greg Brock. And so Gooden, again, looking over at Hojo at third. The Mets 17-20 on the replay. Gooden from the stretch. Line drive, Hernandez snares it. And that's an absolute... Oh, my goodness, it's a triple play! It's a triple play! I guess he made up for it. That wasn't on Hernandez. That was a line drive right at Howard Johnson. He put it away for 1. The runners were going. He threw to second. Chapman was there for 1, for 2, and then over to first, and they get a triple play out of the deal. How about that? Around the horn triple play. There was nobody out. The runners were going. It was an absolute stab by Hojo. Wow. So the line drive by Brock. Hojo speared it, spun around, went to second for 1, and then over to first, and they got it. And my poor wife, who's in a counseling appointment, is wondering what I'm yelling about. Kurt Berglund, how are you? So a triple play gets the Mets out of the jam. Gooden sits there and bows to Hojo. And Gooden struck out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. But my goodness gracious. Fernando deals, and Gooden strikes out a Scroogey that caught the inside corner. 1 out. So 18 batters for Fernando, 5 in the third innings, 65 pitches, the hit, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Hopefully your weather in Wisconsin's been decent. I'm sure it's not what it was in Columbia, Kurt, but... So Mookie is 0 for 2. A triple play. Didn't expect to see that. I saw it go to Hernandez, and I thought it was a line drive to first, but nope. I was surprised when I saw Web Gym pop up over Hojo. Pitch to Wilson. Mookie. Ground ball to Brock. Takes it to the bag. 2 out. Jamie. A different kind of triple play Steve Garvey would have been involved in. And that reminds me, Delta has daily flights out of LaGuardia for O'Hare, National, and Logan. Delta. There you go. Yeah, Joker. Oh, my goodness. Here's Chapman. Good morning, D. Scott Howard. Chapman is 0 for 2. Howard, Mr. Howard's alma mater, by the way, absolutely stole a win last night in Billings, Montana, the men's basketball team. Oh, my goodness. It popped up on my highlight feed. Pitch to Chapman. There's a little ground ball to Brock. He'll underhand it to Valenzuela for the out. And that'll do. By the way, Fernando's thrown a one-hitter. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 6-1, nothing Dodgers. Garvey doesn't even rewatch Garvey. I'm assuming that Cindy doesn't rewatch Steve. Cindy's still on television, by the way. Socha, Whitfield, and Duncan for the Dodgers here in the 7th. Mike is 0 for 2. Gooden starts the inning off with a slow ground ball to Hernandez. Keith underhands it to Gooden, covering 1 out. Terry Whitfield is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. I guess we can forgive Hojo now for those bad plays. Got him. That's 6 for the doctor. He swung on and missed a 1-2 fastball. So 2 out for Duncan, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Mariano trying to extend his hitting streak to 9. He won't. He strikes out. Stretch time, 1-0. So the Dodgers go down in order in the 7th. And outside of that bad 4th inning, Gooden has looked razor sharp. So has Fernando, as he'll face Keith Hernandez. Keith was the first base runner for the Mets when he walked. He's 0 for 1. Takes this one into the opposite way. Midlife Crisis was right. That's a single. He'll drop in front of Whitfield. And the Mets have their second hit. Brings up Gary Carter, who's 0 for 2. Fernando from the stretch. Double play ball here. Duncan to sacks for 1. Steve throws to first, and that's 2. So Fernando, only 76 pitches right now, making it look awful easy. Here's George Foster. George is 0 for 2. Fernando winds and deals, and that's in the shallow left. Whitfield will ride the Schwinn and make the catch to retire the side. The Mets get that leadoff single and then do nothing with it. We go to the 8th. My goodness, it's 20-1. Talk to me, gang. 1-0 Dodgers. So Fernando Sachs and Reynolds to face Gooden here in the 8th. Fernando was singled and struck out. Chops that one to third. Hojo lets it roll foul. And the count is 2-2. Gooden deals. There's a base hit for Fernando. He's 2 for 3. So he punches that one into left. That's the 7th hit for the Dodgers. Here's Sachs. So Gooden is opening 27 batters on 102 pitches. 7 hits, 7+ innings. He has walked 2 and struck out 7. Sachs 1 for 2. He is singled and walked. And they're going to pinch hit for Sachs? Really? It's Mike Marshall, 301, 12 homers, and 30 RBI. Has not pinch hit on the year. Get back to Western Washington University basketball. Quite a finish by the Vikings. They were down 5 with 19 seconds to go. They hit a 3, forced a turnover, down 2 with 3 seconds to go. They put it back up to tie the game, and then they won with a 3. I watched it on PSC highlights. So just, watch this finish. An incredible finish. Yeah, the Mets are 9 back. They've not hit the quarter pole, Jamie. This is game 38. See if it works for the Dodgers. Marshall chops this one to Santana. They may not get anybody. In fact, they aren't going to get anybody because Santana couldn't read the ball that well. So first and second, and nobody out for R.J. Reynolds, who's 0 for 3. I bet that made ESPN. Reynolds stays in the game, drops a bunt. Carter throws it over to Chapman. And so 1 out. Valenzuela and Marshall are now in scoring position for Kenny Landreau, who's had a good ball game. He is 2 for 3. He has scored the lone run for the Dodgers, has singled and doubled. Dodgers trying to get something here. It's not that Gooden has pitched poorly. That will drive in 2. That's going to drop in front of Christensen. Valenzuela scores. Marshall will do what? Landreau's going to be on with a single. Here comes Marshall. The throw to Carter is way up the line, and it's 3-0 Dodgers. So that brings up Guerrero, who's 1 for 2. He is singled, struck out, walked, and driven in his 22nd of the year. 9 hits for L.A. Gooden deals, and there's a ground ball to Hernandez. Keith goes to Santana for 1. They will not throw back to first, or they will, but it will be too little too late. And there is a fielder's choice, 3-6. 2 out. For Brock, Greg is 1 for 3. He has singled and struck out. Midlife Crisis had a similar thing happen in the Celtics-Sixers game in 81-82. Sixers down by 6. Tony hit a 3 with 3 seconds to go. They stole the inbound pass, and Tony hit a 3 at the buzzer to send it to overtime. Wow, that's pretty cool. I would have invented some swear words at that point, but still, that's pretty cool. So 2 out for Brock. There's a ground ball to third. Hojo better hurry. He gets it across, and that is in time. So the bang banger, Bill Russell will go into play left field, and Bob Baylor will play second. So there's some changes around here. Russell is 6-1 in left. Baylor a 6 at second, and Reynolds is a 4 and a 3 in right. Now, who can hit a lefty? Wow, Strawberry must be hurt. Because he's not listed as an active player. Clint Hurdle hits lefties well. He's 3 for 11, a double and a homer, 273. Does not have a pinch hit yet this replay. Fernando starts the 8th with a ground ball to Duncan. Mariano has an easy play. 1 out. And that brings up Howard Johnson. And Hojo, will they pinch hit? Will get pinch hit for by Ray Knight. Knight, 500 as a pinch hitter. 204 on the replay, a homer and 4 RBI. Fernando winds and deals. Struck him out. That's 3. Fouled it right in the glove of Scioscia on the 0-2 screwball. 2 out for Santana. Rafael is 0 for 2. And if he can't reach, Gooden will come out to pitch the 9th. If not, they'll pinch hit for him. There's a ground ball to Duncan. He's got to hurry. A deep throw in the hole. It is close, but in time. So the bang banger is there. And that will retire the side. So Valenzuela has thrown 88 pitches through 8 innings. And he's sitting on a 2-hitter with a 3-0 lead. Knight comes in to play 3rd. He'll bat 7th. He's a 3 out there. And there isn't anybody good out here. So Danny Heap, who was a 2 and a 3, will play right field as Darryl Strawberry is injured. Scioscia is 0 for 3. 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. They've left on 5. The Mets, no runs, 2 hits, no errors, and they have left on 2. So Gooden trying to finish this one off. Scioscia, Russell, and Duncan. And he walks Scioscia. It's his 3rd walk of the ball game. Here's Bill Russell. 253, no homers, and 4 RBI. The Mets turned to triple play in this game. To 3rd, Knight across the way to Hernandez, 1 out. So Scioscia will move to 2nd. Duncan still trying to get that hitting streak up to 9. Has struck out twice. He's 0 for 3. From the set. That's 8. A 2-2 curve. 2 out for Fernando. And you are not pinch hitting for Fernando throwing a 2-hitter. In fact, he has singled twice, scored, and struck out. This time around, a ground ball to Gooden, who throws it to 1st, and that will retire the side. So the Dodgers, no runs, no hits. They leave a runner on. We go to the bottom of the 9th, 3-0 Dodgers. It's future Minnesota Twins manager Ron Gardenhire that will pinch hit. So pinch hitter, he's hitting 500, 318 on the replay with 2 RBI. And Fernando walked him. Center walk for Fernando. So 27 batters deep. Fernando has thrown 94 pitches, 8+ innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Mookie Wilson is 0 for 3. Fernando and Scioscia try to get on the same page. Fernando deals, and there's a ground ball to Duncan, might be two. Baylor for one. Bob throws to first, 2 out. So Fernando gets the best friend, and Calvin Chapman. They got anybody left? They're going to pinch hit Ron Darling, because it's a better hitter than Chapman, which doesn't say much. So Fernando is one batter away from throwing a 2-hitter. And yep, he is your Digital to Dice MVP. Darling at 167 with a double. So everybody's up. Fernando winds and deals. Right back to Fernando, and he's got a 2-hit shutout. How about that? So Fernando with a big grin on his face, like he is a Cheshire Cat. He shakes Scioscia's hand. Lasorda comes out. Oops. As they somehow close the box score. Come on. Come on. There we go. Let's try this again. So the Dodgers go to 26-16, 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors. They left on 6. The Mets, no runs, 2 hits, and no errors. And they left on 2. So Gooden goes the distance. He falls to 5-3. 9 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs all earned. He walked 3 and struck out 8. Didn't pitch poorly, but didn't pitch great. Fernando Valenzuela goes to 5-5. A 2-hitter. He walked 2 and struck out 3. And he could have thrown 141 pitches. So his ERA falls to 2.59. The Mets fall to 17-21. And now the rest of the day in baseball. The Blue Jays beat the Indians 7-6. Musselman gets the win. 5-0. Waddle 1-1. Jesse Barfield 2 for 3, his 6th of the year, drives in 2. The Giants beat the Expos in 10. So wait for everything to get out of my way. Garrelt's 3-1. Randy St. Clair, his first loss of the year. Rob Deere, his first of the year. 3 for 5 with a double as well. Chicago beats Houston 5-2. Scott Sanderson 3-2. Joe Niekro falls to 3-5. Kevin Bass 2 for 3, his 4th of the year. Charlie Lieberant 4 hits the White Sox, and Tom Seaver. The Royals win 2-0. Lieberant goes to 4-5. Seaver 2-6. Onyx Concepcion hits his 3rd of the year, 1 for 2 and a walk. Yankees pound the A's 12-3. Ed Whitson 1-5. Mike Warren falls to 1-3. Ron Hassey 2 for 3, his 3rd of the year. He drives in 4. Ron Romanek beats the Orioles 4-3. Romanek is 4-2. Denny Martinez falls to 0-7. My goodness. Brian Downing 4 for 4 with his 5th home run of the year. Reds beat the Cardinals 4-3. Jay Tibbs goes to 5-6. Joaquin Andujar falls to 4-4. Alan Nicely, if you asked him nice, he goes 2 for 4 in the 3rd of the year. Drives in 3. Phils beat the Padres 3-2. Kent Tekulve goes to 2-1. Jose De Leon is 0-1. Vaughn Hayes 2 for 2 with a double. Pirates beat the Braves 7-2. Rick Rhoden goes to 3-5. We're looking at about 6 o'clock tonight for Strat, hopefully. Pascual Perez falls to 1-1. Tony Pena 3 for 5, a double and a stolen base. Brewers beat the Twins 9-6. Moose Haas 2 and 3. Pete Filson, 1 and 2. Cecil Cooper, 3 hits, a homer, and drives in 5. Red Sox beat the Rangers in 10, 4-3. Bob Stanley goes to 2 and 1. Dave Schmidt falls to 1 and 4. Mike Easler goes 3 for 5. And the Tigers beat the Mariners 8-5. Walt Terrell 6 and 1. Snyder 0 and 1. Yvonne Calderon 2 for 4 for Seattle with a double and a triple. The doubleheader for you on Tuesday, 11:30 Eastern. 11:30 Eastern, a half hour earlier. Red Sox, Twins, Dodgers, Mets. We'll talk to you then, if not before, certainly before. Have a good one, everybody. So long.